Well, hello there, Rip City. Welcome into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you up at Section 330 up the Pines. So if you get here to Moda, come say hi as we're getting you ready for deja vu all over again, right? Blazers taking on the Suns. Feels like the Blazers just played the Suns 2 nights ago inside this building. That's because they did. They did, and with that game, the Blazers continued their absolute hot streak because, my goodness, they might be one of the best teams in the Western Conference over the last week. They are winners of 7 of 8. And a lot of those games too, man. It's been the young guys, the defense, and look at the 2 games here at Moda. Oh, a win over the Bucks, a win over the Suns. I mean, those are really, really good teams. Oh my gosh, it feels good to be a Blazer, does it not? That game on Saturday, though, holy smokes. I thought the Blazers played so well. So well. They came out the gate. The Suns were doing their thing, right? You knew it was going to be not a rough game, but you just knew that, man, you were going to have to be firing all cylinders. And I keep saying that over and over and over. You got to be firing on all cylinders to get these victories because these teams are good. And all the Blazers keep doing is coming out and firing on all cylinders, right? Now the Blazers come out and they get the early lead 6 minutes into the quarter. It's 14-10. Right? And then it's 2 minutes left. Portland is still pouring it on. It's 27-8. They led 31-27 after the first quarter. And the little 4-point lead feels good, right? A 4-point lead, you can deal with that. But you also worry a little bit because you're like, okay, Phoenix might just come storming back at any moment. But the Blazers did exactly what they need to do in that second, and that was put their foot down. They outscored the Suns in the second quarter, 30-19. It was a wonderful, wonderful quarter. A wonderful quarter, especially since the Suns started 7-2 run right out of the gate. And you're like, uh-oh. It's staying close. 6:45. There's a timeout on the floor. Portland still leads by just 4 points. But after that timeout, that was when the switch flipped, right? They went on a 13-8 run out of the timeout. They ended the quarter on a 19-8 run, and they led 61-46 at halftime. In the first half alone, Anthony Simons, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Scoot Henderson, 7 points, 4 assists. And DeAndre Ayton, 11 points and 4 rebounds. And another stellar game from DA, who we'll hear from a little bit later in this game because, man, it's just he has been playing so well in this recent stretch of games. It's one of those things that, did the Blazers really need to look to trade him? Because I love what I'm seeing from him. I love what I'm seeing from him. Now, the Blazers had that 61-46 lead at halftime. In the third quarter, though, the Suns tried to answer back. They absolutely did, and Devin Booker put the team on his back and did what Devin Booker does. He scored 13 of the Suns' first 15 points, but every single time he or Kevin Durant, who was the other one scoring, made a bucket and it looked like, okay, here they come, the Blazers answered right back. And it was just, that's what you like to see. We've talked about this all year long about how this team doesn't really have the firepower to go on runs and answer runs or answer big blows with blows of their own. But over this last 8-game stretch, that's exactly what they're doing. They're answering the call. Every single time someone else does something, they said, okay, well, we can do it too. We're going to give the ball to Shea. We're going to give the ball to Scoot. We're going to give the ball to Tumani, who's been out there getting buckets, right? They're finding ways to answer the call right now, and it's just that's a sign of maturation for a young team. It absolutely is. And so, again, I've said this a few times, but file that under. You love to see it. You love to see the way the Blazers are playing. Now, in the fourth quarter, the Blazers started the quarter with a 98-79 lead. It was all about holding it, and they just did that. But, of course, the fourth quarter was all a blur because then the Luka Doncic trade happened, and you were just like, oh, my goodness. What just happened? The NBA has been flipped on its head, and we don't even know how to just really rationalize what just went on because they may have proved that Luka Doncic being traded, just may have proved that anybody in the league is gettable. There is no such thing as being untouchable anymore, and that's what that Dallas trade said. You want to call the Bucks about Giannis? Oh yeah, Milwaukee will pick up because you know what? Anybody can be had. The $1 million man, Ted DiBiase, once said that everybody has a price. Everybody has a price, and the Dallas Mavericks and Los Angeles Lakers proved that because holy smokes, Luka Doncic, one of the best players in the entire NBA, is now a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. That just does not sound right. It does not feel right. Like this feels like, quite honestly, like when Gary Payton and Karl Malone were members of the Lakers, right? And you're like, it still didn't feel right, but you're like, hey, end of their career, they're just ring chasing, is what it is. Nah, this is, hey, we're sending prime Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. Hello, Hollywood. How are things over there? Oh my gosh. Sometimes the Lakers, man, just kind of annoy you. They just get everything they want. They get everything they want. But it's just interesting because, again, this whole trade went down, and it was like Luka didn't necessarily want out. The Mavs were just wanted to, change a direction, which still does not make sense at all when you start thinking about how these things work. Really, you want to get rid of one of the best players in the entire planet? But they did. And now they got AD, and if they don't strike lightning in a bottle here in the next year or two and win a championship, then they're going to have to go right back to the drawing board, and they're going to be in rebuild nastiness, HE double hockey sticks, as it were, right? Oh my gosh. Again, when you try to wrap your head around it, it just does not make sense. Back to the Blazers, though. In the middle of the Luka Doncic fiasco, the Blazers were just going out and saying, you know what, we're putting it together, things are nice, and they ended up winning their 7th of their last 8 games, right? 7 of their last 8, they got a dub now, and they go out and just beat the Suns. And not only did they beat the Suns, like we said, they dominated them. 7 different players in double figures for your Trailblazers, all 5 starters, and then Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe off the bench. Jeremy Grant had 20 points. DeAndre Ayton led the way with 24 points. And so you're just sitting there like, man, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Right, 18 points from Toumani Camara. Defense was on point. He also had 10 rebounds, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists from Denny Avdia, 16 points from Anthony Simons. And like I said, Shaedon Sharpe had 16. Scoot had 13, and it's very easy to look at the box score and say, oh, he only had 13 points, but he had 9 assists and 0 turnovers. So again, the team was doing everything they needed to do to go win the ball game, man. And it's just, what else can you say? We've had this debate. Do they tank? Do they not? Well, right now they're not tanking. They're playing well, and it's good. It's good. How can you not be excited when you come into Moda and you take down Kevin Durant? You come into Moda and you take down Damian Lillard. You come into Moda and you're expecting a blowout loss, and you watch them go toe-to-toe with the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's an absolute thing of beauty. It is an absolute thing of beauty. And DeAndre Ayton had a big game, as we alluded to, against his former team, who he hasn't always played against. Sometimes he's missed with some injuries and this and that, but it was a great game. And, he loved to do it and go and do it against the Suns, and he was asked about that after the game.
Do you thoroughly enjoy playing that well against your former team, or is it just another game?
Nah, it's the type of streak we've been on. We've been a complete different team.
I mean, you personally.
I don't really care about me. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to beat teams, man. I say honestly, we just been on that road, that pace, not really worried about who in front of us, playing for each other out there, playing defense and communicating, and you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? Trying to change the tradition around here to a winning culture, and that's what we're just scratching the little surface right now with these dubs we've been getting at home.
There you go. Just scratching the surface with these dubs they've been getting at home and on the road there. And he said he's not about him. He's just about going out there and beating teams and playing good basketball. And the communication. He said right there, we're communicating. Could you say that they're communicating? Communicating? Dominating, communicating. You get what I'm laying down, right? And he's been a part of that. He's been very vocal on the floor. You've seen it everywhere he goes. He's offensively, defensively trying to lead the way. As he said the other day, I've been here. I was just waiting for the young guys to catch up. Well, if that's the case, the young guys are certainly catching up, and the product on the floor is pretty darn good. We're going to take a quick break here, though, on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, it's time for the Coach's Corner. We're going to hear what Coach Billups has to say ahead of this rematch with the Suns. Deja vu all over again, as Yogi Berra would say. Keys to the game as well, and we still got our Coors Cold Hard Facts. It's all right here on Blazers Game Day on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Copy. How much longer? Perfect. I'll bring this music down. Yeah, gotta give my YouTube peeps some music to listen to. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. You can follow me on social at Chris J. Burkhardt. You can follow my producer, Brenden, over at B_slot. You can ask us all your Blazer questions all day long, all night long. Continue the conversation. Also go to youtube.com. Type in Rip City Radio and get in on the conversation there. But it is time now for the Coach's Corner. All right, we're waiting patiently for Coach to head to the podium. As soon as he does, Brenden will turn that audio up. I'll stop talking. We'll hear what Coach has to say ahead of this game. Hopefully get some player updates, roster updates. You know, is everybody a healthy go? I mean, we've been getting some crazy info. But he's at the podium right now, so let's go hear what he has to say.
But does it change anything for you playing the same team again than just a normal game?
I mean, it's a cool challenge, you know, for us. I mean, you know, they started doing this around the COVID and stuff, you know, to cut down on the travel. I just think it's pretty cool to be able to play a team twice and see, you know, how they change, how you change. You know, you're able to kind of make adjustments here and there and see it right away, you know, as opposed to a week or two or a month from now. So I kind of like it.
Mimics a little bit, maybe. I mean, it's not the playoffs, but does it kind of mimic a little bit?
Sure. I like it. I think it's a pretty neat idea.
With Rob, do you kind of, with him and Donovan, do you just kind of decide, you know, who plays on any given night based on matchup stuff? Is that kind of how you do it?
Yeah, you pretty much have to do that because obviously it's tough to play three centers. But, you know, when you're in a situation like right now where it's a back-to-back, it makes it pretty easy, you know. You decide which one you want to play this night, and the other one play the next night. So
if Rob goes tonight, he's not going to go tomorrow.
We've talked a lot about the players over this last 2 weeks, but how much joy are you yourself taking out of this positive stretch?
Oh, it's been awesome, man. It's been awesome. I mean, you know, it's been a while. You know, y'all hear me preaching stuff that I'm trying to teach all the time for a long time here, and I know you relatively new, but these guys have heard it forever. And just to see our guys, you know, in a nice little rhythm and doing everything that we've been trying to teach here, you know, this entire time, it's fun to see, you know. And you're just so happy for the guys. They all playing so well. I'm happy for myself. I'm happy for the coaches, everybody. You know, it's a really fun time when you start to see things mature and come to fruition, you know. So it's been cool, man.
How do you feel like you've grown as a coach from the beginning of the season to now?
I feel like I've grown a ton, you know, but I feel that way every year. You know, you're faced with a lot of different situations at all times. This year has been a lot of fun, much more fun, because by and large we've been so healthy, you know, and I've been able to put guys and teams out there that even when you don't win, you can really compete, you know. and make changes and make adjustments and make different rotate. Like it's been able to do that type of stuff. So I do feel like I've grown quite a bit, in this short amount of time.
Chauncey, you went through it as a player and you've done it now as a coach. As far as that yourself being traded, managing all that, is it different this year? Trying to help guys and keep things together when they see Luka get moved and kind of the veil of anyone can be moved at any given time?
Yeah, well, I've said that forever here, is nobody. Nobody, is untouchable, if you will, or unmovable. And I don't know that they all believe that at times, but seeing something like what happened with Luka will make you believe that, So it's always been kind of difficult around this time of year where the trade deadline is coming up close. I think on every single team you get so many guys just kind of looking around, seeing what's going on, checking their phone,
Do you have to pull guys in kind of?
I have. Prior years I've done it quite a bit. This year, not as much. I don't think the guys have been impacted by it as much. I've had some talks along the way with some of our guys, about it. So I haven't had to do it at all this season.
How does it impact you as a coach not knowing what might happen?
It doesn't impact me at all, because regardless, I just got to keep it pushing. Whoever might leave or come, nothing really changes for me. You have to learn somebody new or some things like that. But in terms of like my preparation and all of those things, nothing really changes for me.
Coach Devin has had it going here as of late and closing in on the all-time scoring record for Phoenix. How do you slow that down a little bit?
Yeah, it's a tall order, man. Booker's one of the best. He's one of the very best, and I know he's closing in on that all-time record. I don't know who y'all played next, but I'd like to see that happen. I'd like to see it happen against OKC. But, yeah, he's been rolling, man, and he obviously had a terrific game the other day. He's just tough to guard. He works so hard to get the ball and to get to his areas. He's very, very physical offensively to get the ball. I try to tell our guys, Shaden and Ant, I'm saying, look at how hard he's working to get that ball. He's so dang physical on offense to make sure he gets to his spot. Just something to learn from for our young guys. But, yeah, Book I just love his game. I say this all the time about him. He's one of the guys I respect the most because he had so many chances to develop a lot of losing habits, having played for so many coaches at a young age. And he never did. He never did, man. And he plays the right way, and he competes. He's competitive. I just love him, man. I just love him. But, again, I hope he plays really good in OKC.
Is Book still one of the main guys you look at and say that this is who Shaden should try to emulate? I know you've talked about that with us before.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things about about Book's game that Shea should, one of the things I just mentioned, how hard he works he's not going to let you he just don't let you have your way with him. But also getting to those spots on the floor, being able to elevate and use his athleticism to get there. And he is one of the guys that I think Shea should spend some time, studying.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, there you hear from Coach Billups, and he's talking about early on in that presser about how he's done a lot of learning and felt that he's grown in a short amount of time too with this team, and maybe that's a reflection of him learning some stuff and the team kind of giving it back to him too. Back to the whole accountability thing. Right? Everyone holding each other accountable. And the vets can call it the young guys. Young guys can call it the vets. Coach can call it the players. Well, can the players call it the coach too? Right? Hey, coach, try this, try that. And it's just good to hear because he's learning a little bit. And obviously the players are learning a ton because this is a different Blazers team right now. It's absolutely a different Blazers team for better and not for worse, right? The only thing that might make it for worse is for the people who are on Team Tank, and that's okay. with me, the winning's fun. The winning's fun. And Scoot Henderson talked a little bit about that. And again, that accountability and communication after the game.
Scoot, this is incredibly impressive. You got to tell me your perspective on how this team has come together and what we've seen over the last 8 games. How's it happened?
And just the togetherness, first of all, holding each other accountable and playing with each other, playing fast, and not caring where the ball ends up.
Earlier in the season, when the wins weren't coming, you're wondering where they're going to come, and now they have. How does that change your confidence that plays are going to work out in your favor, especially when you put in that effort, those 50-50 balls and things like that?
When you're losing like that, like we were a little bit in the beginning of the season, it's easy to get down on yourself, and it's easy to kind of not believe in what we got going on. But as long as we stay on that same path, stay consistent, and build every single day, we can build a house here. So.
For you personally, it really looks like the game has slowed down for you. You're really the floor general out there. You've got complete command and control. What has changed for you?
I don't think nothing much has really changed. I'm just stepping into that role, really, and having fun with it. Not thinking out there, believing in myself and believing in the team that we have, knowing that we're stronger together and making it fun.
Well, and I was going to say, I like a couple of things you said there. Obviously, if we keep doing this, we can build a house here. We can build a house here. That's talking about long-term, man, setting the foundation, which they're doing right now. And then you got to put down your floorboards, put your walls up. Before you know it, you got a nice home, right? I love the fact that that's something he mentioned there and he's focusing on. But right off the top, when Travis asked about them playing together, what'd he say? Holding each other accountable. And it's something that we have heard so many times over the last few days. We're holding each other accountable. There's no hypocrisies in here because we can call out everyone and everyone can call out us. And the accountability matters, man. And I heard this a while ago when I was talking to a player who was traded from Portland years ago about how the new place he was at, he's like, I love that the coaches, everyone holds me accountable. Right? Players like that. And you can talk to other players and other franchises like, yeah, the coach does this. It's something that's like Pop, right? He's had success with that. Spoelstra is another one, right? Accountability is huge for these players. They like it. They thrive in it. It brings out the best in them. And I think the fact that the Blazers are getting to that point where they can hold each other accountable, it's the reason they've won 7 of their last 8. And they're playing some of the best basketball we've seen all year long. This is Blazers Game Day presented by Coors Light. I am your host, Chris Burkhardt. You can follow me over on social at Chris J. Burkhardt. You can also go to youtube.com, watch the stream, get in on the chat as well, and continue the conversation for the rest of the show and all game long over there on social. Ask me all your Blazers questions, comments, and we'll get to them. But we're going to take a quick break here on Game Day. When we come back, it's time for our Coors Cold Hard Facts. Some of you might not like it. Some of you might. Because I know we got team tankers out there who are still upset and they want to play capture the flag. But I want to tell you why not all is bad given this current streak. I'm going to let you know when we come back from the break right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Financial picture. You can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Integrate Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Hey, Portland Chad here. You've changed thousands of diapers, cut off hundreds of crusts, played hours of peekaboo and duck goose. That's because you do anything for your kids. And that's why it's important for you to protect them with life insurance from State Farm. State Farm agent Michael Holton will help you make it easy and affordable to help you protect your family no matter what the future holds. Because for the people you do anything for, life insurance could mean everything. Call State Farm agent Michael Holton in Portland today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. You can follow us on social at Chris J. Burkhardt. Make sure you're also following Rip City Radio 620. Got my guy B_slot holding it down over there at the studio. But we do have some facts to get to about this team because, again, I know people are on Team Tank, and I'm going to tell you why I don't necessarily think what they're doing right now is a bad thing. It is time now for our Coors Cold Hard Facts. All right, so I know everyone is on, we need to tank. We need Cooper Flag. And we've gone through this before, Rip City. I have told you my thoughts on capture the flag, right? And how you just kind of never know what's going to happen with the draft lottery, et cetera, right? But I'm going to tell you here that I don't think this is bad, and I don't understand why people can't necessarily see this. The Blazers have won 7 of their last 8. They've taken the Suns to task. They've throttled the Bucks. They went on the road. They swept a road trip, and you could say, oh, yeah, well, they're playing the Heat, and they didn't have Hero, and they were playing the Magic and Charlotte, who were struggling. Well, it doesn't matter. A 3-game road trip's rough, and they won, right? They beat the Bulls. Like, they're doing well here. A 10-point loss to the Thunder, and things are clicking. And the biggest thing for me is the way they're playing. Right? It's the defense is doing well. The young guys are doing incredibly well. Right? Scoot's leading the way. Shea's leading the way. And you're seeing Denny. You're seeing Tumani. You're seeing all the guys. Right? That's awesome. So I found it interesting when we were talking about this. I basically tweeted out that, hey, the team's playing better. I don't know what they're doing, but I love it. I love what I'm seeing. And I had someone mention that I don't trust what's going on. Right? This was the tweet that was sent back at me because someone was asking about how the team's doing and what about trading Ayton and this and that. And it's like, I don't know. I have no after trading Luka and getting flipped on its head, I have no idea what the Blazers are going to do because what we thought we knew, we had no idea. This is the diary of being an NBA fan. Right? And someone commented back on me, said, I don't trust Joe Cronin enough to do the right thing anymore. There is supposed to be a full-blown rebuild, and he's messed it up big time. He's too flighty in my book. And I don't agree with that. The reason I don't agree with that is because what is the point of a rebuild? Right? A rebuild is to go out there, get young guys, be put in a position to succeed moving forward, especially when you trade faces of your franchise like Damian Lillard and you move off of CJ McCollum, who was right there with him as a face of your franchise, and you trade your starting center and Yusuf Nurkic and you rebuild this thing, especially from the ground up. Going into the lottery and you get Shea and you get Scoot and you get Klingon and you get Tumani in the trade and you're going young. The whole idea is to build that up and to prove that those guys are worth it and building around them is viable, right? So when the team goes out and wins 7 of 8 games, when they do everything I just told you, right, and they beat the Bucks and they beat the Suns and et cetera, the rebuild is working. The rebuild is working. Now, you might want Cooper Flag. Understand it. He's pretty darn good. You might want a better draft pick. And I get it, because, again, you want to get in on Cooper Flag. But losing the odds of ping pong balls is okay when the ping pong balls you've already got in previous drafts are starting to show that they are working out. That is a good thing, and that's okay. So I don't think you can sit here honestly and look at the Blazers and say they've won 7 of 8. They're doing they're playing better defense. They're playing together. Scoot's putting together good games. Denny Avdia is looking like he's totally worth it, and you understand why you gave away assets to get him. Tumani Kamara is playing like an all-NBA defensive player. I don't think you can look at that and say the rebuild has been fumbled. I think the rebuild is still in the process. There's still some moves to make. Right? We've talked about getting some of the vets out there, opening the doors for the young guys, whatever you have to do. But I just cannot honestly look at the way the Blazers are playing right now and say that the rebuild has been a complete failure. Right? Because the rebuild is so much more than just tanking to get Cooper Flag. Right? So you're telling me if you were going out there with the same lineups you're doing, and you're playing Scoot big minutes, and you're playing Sharp big minutes, and you have Denny and you have two, and two's not looking like an all-NBA defender, and Denny Avdia is looking terrible, and Scoot Henderson isn't putting it together, and you're have the worst record in the league, and you have a chance to get Cooper flagged, that the rebuild's working? Because I don't think so. I don't think so. I think at that point the rebuild is just right back at square one. You poured the foundation didn't work. You had to tear it down and re-pour, right? Like Scoot said, we keep doing this, we can build a house. I think the foundation's there. Now, that's not to say that Cooper Flagg can't be a very good part of what goes on that foundation, because he could. He absolutely could. But when I look at the way everybody's playing and the fact that Scoot's turned the corner, the fact that Shea is bringing it offensively and is starting to listen to coach, and you're seeing better defense out of him, the fact that two of the best players on this team all year long have been Denny Avdia and Toumani Camara, the young guys that you're looking to build around, then again, I don't think you can look at that and say that the rebuild has been a failure. I just can't. So what say you? Go in on YouTube.com, type in Rip City Radio, get in on the chat. Tell me whether you agree or disagree or what you think a good rebuild is. You can also hit us up on social at CJ Burkhardt and B_slot. And I want to bring Brenden in for a second. I hope he's ready. He's probably going, uh-oh, what's Burke doing?
No, what's up, man?
But I want to bring you in because actually here in a few weeks, OSA championships are going to be ramping up. So I'm going to miss just, maybe like 3 or 4 games. And you're going to be doing some hosting here too. So I want to make sure people know they follow you because you know what's going on here in Blazerville too. So I want to get your take. Like, do you look at what's going on with this and think that the rebuild has been just a complete failure because they're not sitting in the best position to get Cooper Flagg?
No, I mean, I think it's all very subjective. And, you know, the big thing is, like, you want to see the young guys continuing to develop without being impeded by veterans that don't fit into the long-term plan. So with that, Chris, like, I don't mind that they're winning games. I may have a mind if they don't make a move at the deadline like we may or may not expect them to do, because, you know, you look at their roster and it goes up and down with, you know, just about every person who's looked at it is like, you know, the roster is odd for a team that is rebuilding, retooling, as far as the mix of veterans and young guys. And, you know, for as long as you have guys like Robert Williams and DeAndre Ayton on the roster, Donovan Klingen's minutes are going to be limited. You know, same goes for, you know, some guards as well. So I actually don't mind that, you know, they're starting to win games. I mean, obviously, Cooper Flagg is awesome. I've been team capture the flag for quite some time.
I know.
And that'd be awesome, Chris. But correct me if I'm wrong. Did the Atlanta Hawks not have the 9th or 10th best odds last year?
They were, 10th.
Or something. Yeah, something along those lines. So, and the great numbers that you threw out a couple game days ago where you're like, specific positions that can pick one. I mean, I'll be honest, Blazers play better. It would still surprise me to see them make a move into the play-in. So I think everything will kind of take care of itself, but you should be thrilled and ecstatic that we're seeing Scoot Henderson hit his group. Toumani Camara has become, second-round pick, maybe future, dark horse defensive player of the year. So lots of things to like about this Blazer team right now, Chris. And I go back to what you and Chad were saying back during Rip City Drive, and it was Chad who was like, it's been most fun it's been to be around this team in years, plural.
Yeah, absolutely. And and it's not the exact same, right? But if Trent Bray goes out there for your Beavers and doesn't get a single 5-star recruit and every single 4-star says no to him too, and all he gets is 2 and 3 stars, but then he turns around and he puts together a 10-win season, no one's upset because the recruiting class wasn't good. You know what I'm saying?
No, totally,
because on paper they didn't get the better draft pick or the better player. And Cooper Flagg might be a baller. Cooper Flagg might fizzle out. I like focusing on what you got right now. Again, would Cooper Flagg be great in Portland? I do think he would. I think Cooper Flagg would be great next to Scoot and Toumani and Denny. It would be wonderful. But it would be all for naught if those guys weren't showing that they have the spirit to move forward as a good team, right? And they're a functioning young core. The fact that they're showing it right now is absolutely great. And at that point, just let the ping pong balls fall where they may. This is Blazers Game Day, presented by Coors Light on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Shout out to Brenden for being ready to go. Like I said, follow him at B_slot on social. He'll be hosting a few games for me here over the next few weeks as I'm covering OSAA basketball championships and the like, so make sure you're locked in on Brenden as well. But we're going to take a quick little break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, we're going to hit you with our keys to the game, which will probably not be too different from yesterday's game, because you know what? They hit it. They hit it. Not yesterday, Saturday. They did everything they needed to do. They got a win over the Suns, and I think you just need to do your best to replicate that. Maybe do a few different things because the Suns might be ready. And we'll let you know what those keys are when we come back on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Copy.
Listening to Blazers Game Day on your home of the Portland Trailblazers, 620 Rip City Radio.
Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Blazers getting ready to take on the Suns for the second time in just a few days as they took them on Saturday and picked up a 127-108 victory. We had a couple keys to the game in that one, and they did those things. Hopefully they can replicate it tonight. Are they the same or different, though, tonight? I'll let you know right now because it is time for our keys to the game.
What will it take for a Trailblazers victory tonight? Here is Chris Burkhardt with his keys to the game.
All right, defensively, your Trailblazers have to be locked in and ready to go. They have to be locked in on the defensive side of the ball very specifically. I love the fact that they forced 18 turnovers against the Suns on Saturday, a team that, they don't turn the ball over a ton, and the Blazers went in there, forced the issue, and that was all led defensively, man. It was all about DeAndre Ayton and Toumani Camara, Denny Avdia having a good game. Everything was pretty phenomenal, right, that they were able to go out there and play that good. I mean, 18 turnovers is just phenomenal for any team, right? And 11 steals is great. So you love the fact that the Blazers are really able to get things going. And as I noted, it's the 24-second shot clock violation. They had one early in the first quarter. They had multiple against the Magic. Let's see if they can get one tonight. I got to go back and watch all archive video and just get a running tally of the 24-second shot clock violations, which are huge. To me, they're inexcusable as an offense. Like, get a shot up at the same time if the defense ain't going to give you a look. What are you going to do? Like, that is just peak defense to force a 24-second shot clock violation, right? And I get the violation where it's, you miss a shot, you get the rebound, you almost forget that it resets to 14 or what have you. But it's like, man, just defensively to force that issue and a team can't even get a shot up? Keep that up. That's absolutely phenomenal to see from your Trailblazers. Secondarily, you want to see them be aggressive on the glass again. They beat the Suns 43-37 on the glass, including 10 offensive rebounds, which is always good for your Portland Trailblazers. They had more assists than the Suns. Always good for your Portland Trailblazers as well. Now, a key in the other game was to lock down Devin Booker a little bit because he's found a way to take care of the Blazers every single time they've played. He's gone off. Well, he went off again in this one. He had 37 points. He was unstoppable, and a lot of that was in the third quarter, right? Where he scored 13 of their first 15 and was just red hot. Now, the biggest thing that the Blazers were able to do to combat that was they answered every single hit that he got. They answered with a hit of their own, right? They answered with a hit of their own, and I loved that from the Trailblazers because that is exactly what you want to see. That's exactly what you want to see because if they get to a point where they can't counterpunch, then it's going to be jab, 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 and then knockout blow. Right? So you got to be able to counterpunch to keep the Suns honest, and I love that they were able to do that in that victory over the weekend. And then the biggest key is getting to the free throw line, right? This team has seen an uptick in their free throws, especially with Denny Avdia and the way he attacks the rim and just has one speed, and that's full. Right? Full speed is the only speed Denny has, right? And that has led to getting to the free throw line. In that game against the Suns over the weekend, they had 31 free throw attempts. They made 26 of them, and that was huge, even though the game was decided by 19 points and they only had 4 more free throws. The reason it was huge is because in the previous losses to the Suns, they only had like 20 or so free throws combined in those 2 games. They had more free throw attempts in this one game than they did in those 2 games combined, and this was what allowed them to not only stay in the game early, but then advance and take the lead for good late. If you take away those free throws and you go back to the early season games, November 2nd, December 15th, where they only had, 9 and 11 free throws or whatever it was, if you only had 11 free throw attempts and you still made 80% of them, right? So you hit 80 or 10 free throws, right? Well, guess what? That means that the Phoenix Suns still hit, 10, 12 more than you. And that's going to take away the 10-point, 20-point lead you have. Like, that's going to eat into it, right? So you got to get to the free throw line and then try your best to stay out of foul trouble and not let them get to the line and get those free points. But, man, it's key. Give the ball to Scoot. Give the ball to Denny. Toumani does it well, too. Boom. Free throw line. Go. Get to the basket. Get them in foul trouble. And then, of course, DeAndre Ayton, man, 11 of 12 from the floor in that game against the Suns. He's been playing incredible basketball as of late, and to go out there and do that against his former team, pretty good. And then you look at the game before that against the Magic, he was 10 of 12. So the guy has missed 3 shots over those last 2 games. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. This is Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. If you want to get in on the conversation, head over to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, get in on the chat there. You can also like us on social. Chris J. Burkhardt, B_slot. And, of course, make sure you're following Rip City Radio 620 as well. But, man, if the Blazers go and get a win tonight, and you can say they've won 8 of their last 9, that's great. Right? Now, if the Blazers don't get a win tonight, but they lose this game and they keep it close, I think you can count that as a victory too, right? It's all about how you play at this point. And for me, I just want to keep seeing the young guys play good. They have been playing phenomenal basketball. And so you got to take that and you got to enjoy it. Now, if they go get a win tonight and they go away from capturing the flag and they get hurt in the standings again, hurt, air quotes, then I understand that you might be upset. But the wins, they matter as well. I mean, you look at the Blazers right now, and they're sitting there 19 back out of first place, but they have, if you will, an 8-game lead on the Jazz, who are the worst team in the Western Conference. The Blazers actually sitting closer to the 10th spot than they are the worst spot in the Western Conference. Now, are they going to get to the play-in? No, that would require a lot of work. A lot of work. They'd have to jump the Spurs, who just got De'Aaron Fox. They'd have to jump the Warriors, who are trying to add to their roster with, 2.5 days left until the trade deadline. Sacramento, who just got Zach LaVine and is trying to figure it out. The Dallas Mavericks and Anthony Davis. They still got work to do. So are they going to get to the play-in? I honestly don't think so. But if they play like this the rest of the way, and they string together little win streaks here and there, and they end up with the 5th worst lottery odds or the 6th worst, they aren't sitting at number 1, I'm okay with it. We've already broken down how the lottery works. They still have a chance at Cooper Flag, but the winning matters, and I enjoy it right now. That's going to do it for Blazers Game Day, though, but don't go anywhere, because coming up next, Chad Doing will have your Trailblazers pregame show across the Trailblazers audio network. Travis Demers will have the call right here on Rip City Radio 620. Tip-off at 7 o'clock. And then, of course, when the game is all said and done, keep it locked in because we'll have the 5th quarter where me and Brenden will be here talking to you as always, and hopefully we're breaking down a Trail Blazers victory. Rip City, enjoy the game. We will talk to you when it's all over.